Welcome to the Gentle Business Rebellion. You've done the work. You've tried all the strategies and still something feels off. This show is for established women entrepreneurs who are ready to stop second guessing, quiet the noise, and hear themselves think again. If you are ready to find your way back to the work that you love, I am so glad you're here because you're not lost. You haven't done anything wrong. You've just simply outgrown the business you built. Let's learn how to build what's next. In this episode, I am kickstarting off a new short series that is going to be looking at why we lose connectedness with our business, why we lose touch with our voice. What does that look like? What are the signs? How do you reconnect and find your voice again and start using it? Because if you've been in business for any amount of time, you are going to realize that there are times you look around and you go, I do not know what to say. I am confused. I've been doing all of the work over here. I still don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And if you have been in business for a long time, you've been through some tough seasons. I can pretty much guarantee that if you have been in business more than 3 or 4 years, you've had some tough seasons in your business. You've learned things. You've grown. You've developed your business. You've grown your business. But it's very possible that through that growth, through that intense season in your life, you've lost some connection with your business. You've lost connection with your voice, and you don't know what you think. You don't know what to say, and you're not even sure how to use it. So in these episodes, I'm going to be walking through these different questions and these different ways we lose connection with our voice. And I want to share with you some personal stories of what I've experienced over my entrepreneurial journey, because I've had some very distinct seasons where I realized I needed to reevaluate and pivot a little bit or make a change in my business direction. And each of those seasons did require a different voice from me and learning how much I had changed through that experience. And that experience changed how I connected and viewed my business. And it required me to show up as a different person because I had changed. I was not the person who started her business. I was the person that just went through something hard. So why do we lose connection with our business, with our voice? And there's several reasons. One, we get really busy and we just don't have the time for it. And that can be that your client load is large, or you have a lot going on in your personal life and you're running your business in the margins, or you're running your business by the seat of your pants in survival mode, and you just get so busy you don't have time to stay connected to your business the way you used to. You don't use your voice. This has happened to me more than once, that I did get so busy that I didn't need to market. I didn't really need to share with the world what I thought, how I did business, how I did things. I was a subcontractor for many, many years. And so I had clients coming at me left and right, which also started to grow my direct client base. And I was so busy that I didn't have time to market. I didn't send the email. I really wasn't on social media. And I didn't use my voice. And when my business shifted to the point where I needed to start marketing, it was a hard learning curve. And I didn't know what to say. I really didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say and share and how to connect with people because I was having to learn something brand new. So when we don't use our voice, it is possible to lose connection with it and not be able to show up in your business the way you want to or way you had imagined you would be able to. AI is very much in the vernacular now, and using it is just something that has now become a part of daily life for many of us. AI generated content, stuff that you read or stuff that is generated for you. There's both good and bad use case scenarios for AI. Sometimes it's extremely helpful, and there are other times it really is detrimental to you finding your voice, reconnecting with your voice, and using it. Even just hiring coaches or buying programs or downloading freebies. A lot of times these are taught from their perspective and they don't understand your business unless they take the time to get to know you and what's going on in your business. And so their experiences are informing how they teach and how they show you what to do next. But it doesn't always fit you and your business and your experience. And you can lose your voice in the middle of that because coach or program ABC is telling you to do it this way, but your little voice is saying, you know what, I don't think that's going to work for me. And then coach XYZ is telling you the exact opposite. And so we stop using our voice. We lose connection with it. Is this really what I'm thinking? Or is this what everybody's telling me that I should be thinking? There's so much noise coming at us. This is something we talk about a lot here on the podcast. Social media, news, YouTube, podcast, Pinterest, your inbox, and so many more areas of noise that are coming at you, that when you are in consumption mode and listening or watching mode, you are losing connection with your voice. You are losing the ability to speak up and use your voice. And instead, maybe you find yourself kind of regurgitating what you've been consuming. When you consume more than you produce, and when you listen more than you use your voice, it is easy to lose touch with what you really think and you believe and you know from your experience helps people change their lives. And then there's also fear. Fear is a big one here. There's fear of comparison. There's fear of what will people think? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I change my mind? What will people think? Fear is a big one. And then also, this one has been the most prevalent in my life, is intense seasons of health issues, business changes, caregiving experiences, family needing me, and to the point where my business gets stuck in survival mode or maintenance mode because family over here needs my time and attention. I still need to show up and serve my clients. My business is how I support myself. But there are seasons where business, my focus and my energy on my business has to shift towards family and away from my business. And in that process, I stop using my voice and I start to lose connection with my voice. And there have been times I have felt like I have lost my voice and I had no idea what I thought, what to say, how to write an email, what to say in it. And in those seasons, fear takes control. A lot of times because we're not using our voice, we go to the AI tools. And those AI tools, again, some are really good and some are not. And they start to tell you what to say and how to say it. And that can change the tone of your voice, the tone of your messaging. And you can get buried underneath all of that noise. So how can you tell that you've lost connection with your voice? One is you keep recreating your offers, your emails, your marketing. You keep changing your mind because it's not quite right, or you try it once and it didn't really work, so you change your mind that I need to change it all up. Your website has become a jumbled mess of miscellaneous updates, and now it lacks cohesion. As a web designer, as somebody who has worked with WordPress for a long time, the cobbler's kids have no shoes. So a lot of times my website is the last one to get updated. And the last time I really dug in and updated my website, I kind of just sat there with my hands up in the air and going, oh, wow, this poor website. And so it did take some dedicated time to get the website back into shape, to make sure that the messaging and what I was offering was cohesive and made sense. But that was also a signal to me that I have lost touch with my voice. I don't know what to say on my website. So that is a sign to pay attention to. And another sign is each time you sit down to write an email or record a podcast or write out a video script or even write a social media caption, you can't think of what to say. You don't think you have anything enlightening or new to say. And you feel like, does anybody even want to hear what I have to say? And when you look at your business and you look at your business plans, there's just this level of disconnection and restlessness that you haven't experienced before or in a long time. And at the bottom, all of this is a frustrating place to be. But you know what it is? It's a sign of growth. It's a sign of change. And so as frustrating as it is, it's also an incredible opportunity. It's an opportunity to find your voice again, to reconnect with your voice, to get connected with your business, to get realigned with your business so that your business is matching your current season of life, your available energy and time, and it's fitting you now. And when you use your voice and you are connected with your voice, your relationship with your business changes, and you know what changes you need to make in your business so that it catches up with you and all the growth that you've experienced. So when you are disconnected, it is very frustrating. You do feel a bit lost, even though you really aren't. A lot of times you're going to feel like you're burning out when it's not really burnout, it's misalignment. You're not aligned with your voice. You're not aligned with what you think. You're not aligned with your growth. And your business needs to catch up with you. And all of that leads to a lack of confidence, because when you either are not using your voice, or you're constantly changing, or you're not evaluating your growth and adjusting your business and your marketing to match, you are going to lose confidence. And when you lose confidence, you lose clarity. And when you lose clarity, you stop taking action, which leads to lack of confidence and a lack of clarity. There is a definite cycle there when you are not using your voice and showing up in your business. So I wanted to give you some more examples. Years ago, when I came out of a very difficult season of a family member having a battle with cancer, and eventually, unfortunately, we lost that family member, I was a bit lost after that because I was very involved in their care those last few months. And all of a sudden now I had to get back into my business, and I had to start getting my clients back on board, finding new clients. And I lost myself for a while. I did not know what to say. I did get stuck in the busyness of trying to rebuild my business, of trying to get back into business mode. It was not easy. And it took probably another 9 to 12 months after that experience for me to finally sit back long enough to say, wow, I went through a lot there. That experience changed me. And I am no longer the person who started her business. I am no longer the person that was before I started being involved in that family member's care. And it took me a long time to put down the busyness, to take off the blinders and get real for a moment and say, you know what, I have changed. I don't know exactly what needs to change right now, but something has got to change. And in that experience, I hired a really great branding coach. And he walked me through that season of growth and looking at my current branding and looked at the gaps. And then we looked at how much I had changed and grown and what could I do. And I went from a virtual assistant brand to a website developer brand. And it included my personality. It included my love of the outdoors. It was Trail Guide WebWorks. And it brought such a freedom into how I expressed myself, how I showed up in my business, what I could include on my website. My dogs started showing up on my website. I had people commenting how they could see me in this, with the photography, with the outdoors, with my dogs. And it was incredibly freeing to understand that I could bring my personality into my business. And that gave me some confidence to start speaking up and sharing about my process of web design, of how I worked with clients to develop a website. That was such a freeing experience. Fast forward to about 2019, early 2020. Again, I was stuck in a place where I had two different businesses, and I felt like I had a split personality almost, that there was the web design part of my business and there was the blogging and publishing side of my business. And I was quite lost. And it was through working through a mastermind where the coach asked some very insightful questions that I had to spend some time processing and asking. I spent a lot of time journaling, a lot of time praying, a lot of time asking questions in those coaching environments. And to the point where finally I realized I had outgrown my business and I did not know how to connect with my voice because I was showing up as two different people. And it took combining those two businesses into one, because I realized the umbrella that connected them was that I wanted to help women reduce their stress and feel a lot more calm in their business. And that was what brought these two businesses together. And with that, I showed up as fully me in that moment, in that season. And that changed everything for me. I knew how to market. I knew what I wanted to say. I understood how I had grown and how these could be brought together. It was incredibly freeing. I rebranded to Sela Studios. And I started to show up differently in my business. My offers changed. My marketing efforts changed. Eventually, I started writing an email newsletter weekly for the first time in the 13 years, I think it was before that I had tried and failed. And I did it for 6 years. And at that time, it was a lot of journaling, a lot of praying, a lot of writing. There were books that I read that had really interesting journaling questions. There were books that I had read that asked really insightful questions. And eventually I took all of those, the ones that worked for me, and put them into a notebook where I could just answer them and go back and read them and add more answers. I have a notebook full of sticky tabs because then I took all that I'd written and I started highlighting, repeating words, repeating themes, and that helped me connect to my voice in a new way, in a powerful way that changed how I showed up in my business and in my marketing. So that is my experience. That is my journey. And I just wanted to take a moment to share with you that if you have been through a tough season, if you are in the grieving process, if you're in the middle of a hard season, you have not lost your voice. It may feel like it. What you have lost is alignment. You've lost the ability to connect with your voice and align what you're saying with what you think and have it align with your business. That sense of losing your voice is actually a sign of growth. And once you reconnect with your voice, there's a lot of clarity that comes from that. And when you get clarity, you find that confidence. And that confidence gives you the ability to take action and you get excited about your business again. You start loving the business, even if it's not quite where it needs to be yet. You are excited to make the changes to get it there. So that's not the end of the story if you feel like you have disconnected from your voice and you've lost touch with it. In the next few episodes, we're going to be walking through even more how to reconnect with your voice and the cost of staying disconnected from your voice, and what are some great next steps for you to take so that you can feel confident in your business again. I hope you'll join me for the rest of the series, and I'll see you in the next episode.